I think music is special for people because it's the only thing that can communicate without words what we feel in our hearts. Hi, I'm Carl Rydlund, and I'm a studio musician. Whether I'm orchestrating or conducting or composing or playing guitar, most of my work is done in the studios, in primarily film and video game work. I started the Artist in Residence program here at Ocean Way in order to bring the student into the studio. When you're a student, you are using book knowledge continuously. And I think that book knowledge needs to be balanced with actual studio time. And this is an incredible environment to be able to do that.
I have been studying with Carl for 4 years now, and he has just been nothing but an encourager, and he just says, yes, let's try it. And I really, really appreciate that because you need someone like that.
I worked in LA as a copyist. It's a couple of different large copying offices that had very high-powered clients like John Williams and James Newton Howard and Hans Zimmer and people like that. And as a copyist, I got to see scores by great orchestrators every day I was working on them. And it just spurred in me the idea of being able to do what they do. So what we're doing here today with the Artist in Residence program in conjunction with Ocean Way and Belmont University and the Curb College of Music is a class that I developed for film and video game scoring. So tonight what we're going to be doing is we're going to be having those students put their music out in front of a live orchestra that's going to be sight reading to see if they produced it properly enough to give this player the right amount of information to sight read it as perfectly as possible the first time. Music prep, especially in film and video game and TV, is the process of going from an orchestrated score and how you get to that point to the copyist and how he gets his music out of the score and onto the musician's stands. A final piece of music would come from the composer as a sketch or a MIDI file, go to the orchestrator who would MIDI transcribe that, get it ready to go into Sibelius, and then after it's been orchestrated, it would go to a copyist who extracts each individual part for the orchestra to play, transposes it if necessary, makes the part layout pristine so it helps the player play it the first time perfectly. When you're under the gun in a movie or a film, TV, video game scoring situation, it costs about $550 per minute in the studio. So every minute you're wasting time trying to get a program to act a certain way or facilitate a certain action that you need to do, you're costing someone else real money. And in the process, we found that Sibelius has the best way to translate those needs. As a hand copyist, I learned how to lay out a part, how to do it perfectly the first time, because if you mess up, you got to start all over. And that has really led into my use of my current tools, which of course Sibelius is a huge part of it. Just be able to get things aligned properly. I can highlight one thing and say align by row, and it just really, with a little bit of tweaking, everything goes into the program in the right spot.
The user customization in terms of key commands is absolutely my favorite feature by far in Sibelius. I stumbled onto it almost accidentally, but being able to set my own key commands and hotkeys for whatever I want, similar to the immense amount of key commands in Pro Tools, makes workflow so much faster. And I grew up playing a lot of computer-based games, so I'm really used to using key commands to do various things. So the fact that I can choose almost immediately what I want these key commands to be is super helpful.
The great thing about being in a room like we're going to be in, which is a real scoring stage, we can simulate large expense. The students having the feeling of that ramp up to it, the little bit of anxiousness as they're coming in. I try to make it feel like a real recording environment for the students, both the players and the composers. I think that that is super, super valuable to feel that, the anticipation of it, the amazingness of it, the sound that comes back to you off the speakers. Very few people really get to hear that as students.
Having access to studios like Ocean Way has honestly been a dream come true because, we don't get that experience anywhere else. And especially when recording here as well, getting to hear what things sound like in a live setting rather than just on your DAW, and getting to see how Pro Tools works with it as well.
In education specifically, Pro Tools and Sibelius have helped me immensely. I made the switch to Sibelius actually because of Carl's recommendation. Pro Tools just immediately also kind of became the DAW of choice once I got to Nashville, and being able to use them alongside of one another, one for the beginning of the process and then Pro Tools for the end, for the recording of the process, makes everything so much simpler.
Sibelius is really right now in the marketplace the only thing I consider a professional copying program. It's great to have great looking scores and great looking parts, because when I see a great score, I can hear it immediately. And then if there's something I need to fix, I know exactly where I am and I'll know exactly what needs to be done. Same thing for the players. When they have a part that they can hear in their head, they can play it perfectly every time. RG. Leave my mic open for a second, would you, Caitlin?
You're open in everybody's ears.
RG, please. RG. And look at the bass. Go ahead and push through the best you can. One. Students coming into the industry and looking at music prep and orchestration as a potential career, those students are coming into a really interesting time in the world. And one of the things I tell my students is the job you're preparing yourself for may not exist today. So the technology side of it and learning how it exists today is almost like a history lesson for your future. So what I hope my students will understand is what they're learning today here is a base of excellence for the future and how to discern what their future is going to be.
I didn't really know what to expect when moving to Nashville, being from Atlanta, so I was expecting all honky-tonk country all the time, and to an extent it is, but I also realized that there's so much more than that. You can kind of meet anybody, and that's what I really like about it. The best thing you can do as a freshman, especially going through the school system, is you have to do what's best for yourself. So you are your own best advocate, and you have to create every opportunity. You can't rely on anybody to create those opportunities for you. So the more you can put yourself out there and do things that maybe you didn't even think about doing before, the more you can experience things and grow up, get more opportunities out of it, and grow more as a individual in whatever you want to do.
The mindset of professional thinking, professional adult thinking is extremely important to impart to students.
The more you know before you go into college, the better off people have been. And that you're able to apply what you already know into what you're learning, rather than just trying to learn everything all at once.
Belmont has given me a lot of tools, and I think the professors that are there, Carl amongst every other professor that I've had, all has such unique takes and unique backgrounds in the music industry that we've gotten to see a little bit of everything. And I think those skills and things that I've learned both at Belmont and on my own over the last 4 years have prepared me, for sure.